with us signing some undrafted guys, and let's be honest, we signed a good amount of undrafted guys. It's time to learn more about these said players, more than just their names. So let's start off right away with one of our new cornerbacks from Texas Tech, who also played at Fresno State, 5'11", 175-pound Lux. Now, Lux played 3 years at Fresno State, had 2 sacks actually from the cornerback position, which is, not something you normally see. Kind of have that Mike Hilton-esque into him, He did have a total of 4 interceptions in college, had one every single year except for 2021. 2021 was actually when he played the most games of his career with 13. So kind of weird. The only year he doesn't have an interception is the year he played the most total, which is kind of weird. I mean, I guess 2023 was technically his best year. He had the most combined tackles. He actually played 12 games. Didn't play 13, but did play 12. He had the most solo tackles. He did have 1 interception. So, not really the craziest college career. Again, this is why the guy was undrafted, but I'm going to be interested to see how he does develop in the NFL. It's not always the case that undrafted guys make the NFL. Sometimes they do. You never know. Now we got our boy Connley, running back from San Jose State and Arizona. So this guy did not spend much time in college, only 2 total years, 2023 and 2024, before he is now an undrafted player for our club. He did put up a total of 842 yards in 2023. Then he went to Arizona where he put up 745 yards. Okay. Looks like a pretty decent receiving back. I mean, not anything too crazy, but more than we normally see from undrafted running backs when it comes to the receiving game. So, okay. Doesn't have his measurables. I was kind of hoping we would get somewhat of a measurables of him. Doesn't give us any measurables. My guess is he's probably going to be your typical running back size, which is around 5'10". Let me see if I can get a height and weight here real fast. We guess like a 5'10 type. Yeah, he's literally 5'10. That's exactly what he is. I was just kind of throwing it out there what he could be. But, he is exactly 5'10". Only 2 years in college. 5'10". They don't have a weight on him, but 209. So he's 5'10", 209. Connley right here. So 5'10", 209. Not bad. Good size for a running back. It's kind of funny. The first size I put out there is actually the correct size, but a lot of running backs kind of fall in that mold of like around 5'10", around 200 pounds, maybe a little bit less or more. Our next guy is our quarterback we signed, which is 6'2", 210, Peyton Thorne. Played 3 years at Michigan State before transferring over to Auburn for 2 years. Actually had a really freaking good year in his second year at Michigan State. His second best year, obviously, being at Auburn. His first year at Auburn being his second greatest year. Now, of course, for us, we're not a team that is looking for a quarterback. This is just a camp body, in all honesty, training camp body. Maybe he gets some play time in preseason, potentially. It's not really a guy who we too much are going to see much of, but, it's still nice to give him a chance, maybe get some tape out there, potentially sign somewhere in the end. That's always kind of the situation here. The next guy we have here is a long snapper, William Wagner. He played a total of 5 years in college, all at Michigan State. He is a long snapper, so stat-wise, he's not going to put up crazy stats. But for the most part, gets the job done. Wide receiver, this is when we should get a little bit of an interesting scenario here, hopefully. Jordan Moore. Jordan Moore is 6'2", 180. So, okay, kind of a bigger guy, like it. Not like weight-wise, but height-wise, like it. Didn't do anything his freshman year at Duke. Went ahead, then put up 656 yards, 835, and 861. 5 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns, and another 8 touchdowns. Okay. Hey, I mean, you're going to have in training camp not really Joe Burrow throwing you the ball, but some other quarterbacks we have on our roster. So you might get a Jake Browning pass. All right, so offensive tackle for BYU, Caleb Ethian, is actually, for some reason, not in college football database here. So that's kind of weird. This is the guy who it is right here. So not in the database, but 6'6", 329 pounds. Doesn't play with enough grit and block stick. Needs better bend and pad levels when fitting up run blocks. Operates with too narrow a base as a drive blocker. Slow to cut his hands loose, allowing rushers in his frame first. Inconsistent foot slide to mirror movement of the rusher. Too willing to shadow the outside rusher instead of snatching up with his hands. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, he was projected 6th or 7th round, so we got a 6th or 7th round guy undrafted on the squad now, which, hey, listen, that's like an extra 7th round pick potential. Elite bend of size, length, and athletic ability, able to set up edge rushers with adequate slide quickness, can stymie a rush with a 36-inch arm span. Nice. What I do want to see real fast, actually, does PFF have his profile on? They do not. Okay, well, that's disappointing. Kind of hoping PFF had his profile so we could see a little bit more about him. But let's go on to the next guy, though. Next guy we have here is Seth Laughlin from Ohio State. So definitely, close guy here. Played at Alabama for majority of his career and then went to Ohio State in 2024, where it looks like he had the best year possible for himself. First 2020 and then 2024. So first year in Alabama, did great. First year in Ohio State also did absolutely amazing. So shout out to him. The next guy we have on the list here is actually someone that a lot of people have told me in the comment section they're excited for. And it's Howard Cost III from Notre Dame. So someone who played his whole entire career at Notre Dame. I do know this guy very, very well. I really like him. I think he has a really high upside. And obviously, yes, he has played under our new defense coordinator, Al Golden, for the last couple years. So very much a guy that I'm sure Al knows of. I'm sure there was some, hey, Al put his word in for this guy to get picked up, and works out really freaking amazing. So excited to see this guy. He is 6 foot tall, 275 pounds. Obviously, defensive lineman. Next spot we picked up is going to be a D tackle, which I'll be honest right now, our D tackle depth is absolutely insane, which we have not been able to say as of recently on this team. So I'm very ecstatic that our defensive line depth is so amazing. But we also picked up a D tackle here, 6'4", 295, Eric Gregory from Arkansas. Played his whole entire college career at Arkansas, 6 years total. Did go ahead and hit up 9.5 sacks in those 6 years, which definitely okay. Shout out to him for that. Again, this is another guy where when you look at our defensive line group, outside of TJ Slayton and BJ Hill, it goes Chris Jenkins, and then it's kind of open. McKinley Jackson, obviously, I think will make the roster 100%, but it's kind of that, hey, if someone really plays good in, training camp and preseason and really studs out, they might make the roster as that, potential 5th D tackle. So now looking at our next guy here, we have Shaquan Loyal from Rutgers University. We do have a defensive back. So another guy where, again, we are looking for potential backup safeties. So this guy is actually listed as a safety here. So this is a player who could actually make the roster undrafted. I know it's like, yeah, these are just camp bodies, but at the end of the day, a camp body can turn into an NFL roster player if he is good enough and he helps us win. So he does have 2 sacks the last 2 years at Rutgers and 4 interceptions total in his whole entire college career. So putting up some pretty good numbers, and I'm going to be honest with my man, I am rooting for you. I'm definitely rooting for you right now, and hopefully you can get that spot and help us out in our secondary. We got Cole Taylor here. Played 2 years at West Virginia. 444 yards his freshman year, and his second year, 448 yards. So another guy, really young, coming out of college. Only played 2 years at college, and then bam, right into this. Interesting. Tell me down below what I'm missing here. It says junior and senior. So why is freshman not on here? Is it because he didn't play freshman year and they just don't have his stats? Or is it because of the fact, I don't know why they don't show freshman year. I assume he only played 2 years, but junior usually means that you played at least 3. Your junior years, it goes freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, right? Sophomore season's your second year. Your third year is junior. So in theory, this would indicate he played 2021 and 2022, freshman, sophomore, and then he played junior, senior year. I don't know. That's college football. Then we got Rashad Owens, wide receiver, 6'2", 200 pounds. Like, for example, this. Freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. That makes sense to me. Yes, he did have 2 freshman years, but you see how many games he played. He only played 4 games his technical first year. So his second year was a freshman also. So, yeah. And I know there's also redshirt freshman as well. But did put up, not many yards in his first 3, but last 2 put up some decent yards. So maybe he could become something here. And our last guy we have here is Mays. 5'11", 205 pounds. Only played 1 year, it looks like, but it did say senior year. So I guess technically maybe he only played 1 year, so that's his last year at Cincinnati. 349 yards and 1 touchdown. The only other thing I could think of is if the player is not eligible to play more than 1 year. If their age impacts something. I don't know. You guys will probably tell me down below, and I appreciate you guys. But Mays is our last guy here. Now, we do have one more player, and we talked about him on my community tab, actually, and that's this guy right here. So, International Player Pathway and NFL Academy alumni, Dante Barnett, has persevered through the difficult times and loss of his father. Sorry for his loss. Bringing him to the brinks of the NFL stardom. And he is now officially a Cincinnati Bengal. So defensive tackle, Dante Barnett. So we'll find out how good he is and what he contributes to this team at a later date. Tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'll see you guys in the next one.